Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in today's monthly community call. Today, we have Karel, who is our master goblin and CEO at Union, and we have Cor, our mad scientist and the CTO at Union. So, we'll cover what's happened from February's community call to till date. So, without wasting time, let's get started. Over to you, Karel.
Yeah, so Testnet 9 launch, I guess that's kind of the biggest thing that's keeping the team up 24/7. For everyone using it, I think we went through like a really nice experience together, like a curve. First 3 days were absolutely horrible. Everything failed, mainly because we blew up RPCs for about all the teams we were connected to. We encountered a lot of other bugs, which is what a testnet is supposed to be, right? Like it's not an immediately finished product. I think what really showed is we took all of that feedback you guys gave us and rapidly deployed fixes. And you can actually see in the transfers going up, every time we deployed a fix and increased the bandwidth for the network, allowed for more total transfers to go through, we immediately saw that being filled up. So I think the first 2 days we're like doing like 80,000 daily transfers, which is, by the way, about twice the amount that layer 0 does. And as we increased the throughput, we went up all the way to 1.3 million, which is, to be honest, about as much as literally like most mainnet bridges do in like 2 to 3 months, like all IBC volume across all Cosmos chains in 2 months. So we've really shown with this that Union can handle a tremendous amount of volume. Right now, we're still working on increasing this, and we still encounter, to be honest, very much the similar problems we saw at the start, which is RPCs of, for example, Babylon, just not being able to keep up with the traffic that we're pushing. But meanwhile, it really did harden our infra. Obviously, the Kaito leaderboard, insane amount of votes arrived at Union. Two reasons for this. We were there from the very start and had a very community organic oriented campaign for obtaining these votes. And the other part, of course, is that Kaito released their NFT and allowed votes for NFT holders, which increased the total amount of votes available. And we got lucky with that and having everyone basically choose Union as one of the biggest potential projects. I'm quite happy with it, and we're working further with Kaito to see how else we can basically ensure that it's not just big accounts that reap the benefits here, but that it's basically the community that can use this as a way to become their own KOL. We had U Combinator launch, announced, and receive a tremendous amount of signups. U Combinator is kind of the upgraded version of the Union Fellowship program, which we ran initially to start teaching people about building on Union. I think right now we have about 30 companies that have signed up to participate, and we'll see how many of those manage to get in and follow through with the program. These will basically be the Union ecosystem as well as potential new projects for you guys to support early on. We will, of course, pull everyone in to make sure they all succeed. Think of like stable coins and other assets that can generate tremendous yield for the Union community. We had, of course, our NFT mint, which I think is still number one on Stargaze. So beating the Omis and other projects out there. Really happy with that, as well as seeing that basically Union members hold them. So happy to see that we've brought them diamond hands. And finally, we've seen our Twitter community grow as well. So really, Union is kind of upgrading from one of those projects that has 60K followers and kind of stays there forever to potentially becoming the next major project, maybe the next Movement Labs or even bigger. Like partnerships, one that I'm really happy with, and also really happy to see that almost everyone here has supported them when they announced this tower. Tower is the de facto DEX and kind of DeFi aggregator hub on Babylon. So we'll see a lot of BTC related volume go here. And Union is their bridging partner as well as a partner for other products that we're building together with them. So expect potentially Tower to kind of become a pivotal part in the Union ecosystem and vice versa. Boundless, which we announced, of course, is with Risk Zero. Boundless is their proving network. On top of that, RiskZero is extending their platform specifically for union-related proofs. So down the line, what this means is cheaper proof generation for union and faster proof generation. RiskZero and Boundless were kind of the first prover networks and ZK VMs out there, and the biggest ones. So the fact that they choose us as their primary ZK interop partner and are adjusting their platform specifically for us makes me extremely happy. Kind of shows that Union has reached a certain dominance in the space, that it can set certain technical standards for others to adopt, which is obviously a really good sign, because I'm a big believer that the technical standards that we are setting are the best ones. Right, events. Obviously, part of our team was at ETH Denver. I actually wasn't. Personally, I had hurt my back, so was bedridden with a hernia. ETH Denver for us was this time very much focused about BD. So in previous years, the union team had gone there with the development team to basically start talking about with different technical partners and implementations. Now this is more about sourcing further liquidity for our various products. You can see some of the partners where we spoke and were invited to speak at. So quite happy overall that we do keep receiving many invites from our biggest partners. Some of you might have seen Kaylee, or on Twitter, Token Female Hire, doing some shorts and questioning people outside on the NFTs they own and such. We've decided to kind of up Union's marketing a little bit. For those that have been following Union for a long time, you might have known that initially we were very technical and very much developer focused. We've now realized that as the community has grown, there's so much bigger potential for Union. So we're really looking to ensure that we're a crypto project that both builds really good products, listens to the community, but also has a marketing approach that can actually bring in the next couple of millions of users. So let us know what you think of it and how we can improve here, and we will do so. Right, I'll give it to you, Cor.
So, hey everyone, Cor here, Cor Coder. Yeah, this month has been absolutely insane. Not only all of the preparations for mainnet, but also, of course, the launch of Testnet 9, which we are trying very hard to build in the most stable and reliable manner possible. But you guys are just max clicking like crazy, doing 1.3 million transfers a day. So it's actually been amazing because the thing is, if you're trying to build a very, very reliable system with like tons of components, then the best possible test you can have is just like tons of users ultra spamming the system. So now we're kind of like identifying key failure points and really upgrading those to really maximize throughput and make this ultra smooth and stable for mainnet. Now, one of the main limitations is though that if we are a testnet connected with other testnets, well, then the other testnets that we are connecting to must actually be good. And Union's testnet's very solid. Like we have 100 validators, it's very, very reliable. But some of these testnets only have one validator, for example. And then we have like the 200K Union users like max clicking, and then their poor testnets just cannot handle Union's army of users, which is really fun. Besides that, currently the app is like the classic curve-inspired UI with like 90s vibes and a few 3D animations. But I've been working really hard with Lucas to build app v2, which we will most likely launch this week, which will be very awesome. Like the biggest part of app 2 is like really good optimizations to handle this type of load, but also this like crazy amount of assets, for example. Like since Union started, over 8,000 different types of assets have been bridged in the system, which means that we're keeping track of all of those. And if you're making a transfer, you need to know for all of those 8K assets, okay, what are the users' balances, etc. So we're doing really cool optimizations there. Furthermore, the UI is just really slick, really fast, really responsive, and it will be really resilient against those worst testnets. So yeah, I think that's fire. I'm ultra excited for the tech we're shipping this week. Yeah, so Kaita, who wants to take this?
Yeah, I'll yap more about it. So what we have right now obviously is the Yapper leaderboard. People that might have been laughing at me, tracking me, have seen that mine account has dropped to, I think, 30th in the ranking. I still believe Kaito is miscategorizing the quality of my apps, but I do want to say this. We specifically asked Kaito to make sure that the leaderboard allowed for space for community members and keep encouraging that in the algorithm. So that's why people probably see relatively small accounts be high up, but that is specifically what we want to achieve to really have Union be this grassroots movement. What you can expect next is actually that yapping on Kaito will result also in additional XP and potentially further whitelists down the line in the Union dashboard. So we want to integrate that together a little bit more. Obviously, we've allocated a potential part of the airdrop to the yappers, and you'll be able to track actually your progress in this in the Union dashboard as well. Yeah, so the dashboard, we're still quite happy with this. We're adding some additional functionality, and some might have seen us fixing additional bugs over the weekend, as well as that now you can manually request Discord roles that the bot didn't hand out to you properly. So, for example, if you received certain achievements, but you didn't have your Discord connected at the time, that means that the bot will skip handing out the role because obviously it didn't know what your Discord username was. Right now, you can reconnect your Discord and go to the rewards tab, and you will actually obtain those roles by clicking on the tiny button, and the bot will hand them out again. We'll continue to add some tiny features to the dashboard to basically make your life easier, as well as add some additional achievements and missions. Right now, some feedback that you guys gave us is sure, like seeing the progress bar increase and doing 500 transfers is nice, but that it overloads the network as well as it gets tiring at some point. So I think we're going to encourage more, let's say, do a daily transfer, those types of missions. That means that we basically encourage users that return often and check in on Union and punish potentially users that write bots and run Sybils more. We are working with various teams to find symbols in the Union dashboards. So far, to be honest, we haven't found that many. Mainly, this relates to the fact that obviously your credibility increases the more socials you connect, and running many socials without getting banned is kind of hard for symbols to do at scale. So that's a really nice initial filter overall. We will continue to monitor. As of right now, we are almost at 250K dashboard users. That does not represent the total amount of users on Union. We have actually many more active wallets at any given time. But these are the real users leveraging the dashboard with a decent amount of XP. For us right now, we've distributed a bunch of XP. We basically have laid out the groundwork for the dashboard to really be the center of the Union. And I think next what you're going to see is additional achievements from some of our partners as well. So they'll give you guys the chance to be really early in some of the ecosystem projects.
Yeah, and also a fun quick update is that you can now see your own rank on the dashboard, which I think is very cool. So you now have like an absolute number to measure how high of those 200K users you are.
Yeah. And for people who are interested in, for example, how we think about leveraging the dashboard, I was talking with another project that is doing a Genesis NFT collection. And what I'm trying to ensure for the union is that we have a certain amount whitelisted, which will be based on your rank. So that means that actually getting over that final bit, and for example, becoming a sergeant or lieutenant will increase your chances of being on that whitelist. So it's not just by absolute XP amount, but really the rank that you reach in the Union Army. For that still, we will make sure that it's not like only the 0.1% getting everything. We will distribute it over various ranks. Actually, U Combinator, I kind of mentioned already. Oh, we might actually be at 50 teams already. So for that, that's actually what's occupying a lot of my time at the moment, is prepping and making sure all of the docs and materials are ready for the next iteration in the Union ecosystem. For this team specifically, what are things that we do? So we help them with their BD, obviously technical support, like integrating Union in our product, but also fundraising, planning out how to do their tokenomics, planning out how to potentially grow their community, seeing how they can slot into the wider Union ecosystem. So what I want to achieve is basically this synergistic ecosystem of various projects that all slot into each other. So there's like tribalism where something is an Aptos project or something is a Solana project, and then they have to replicate their entire ecosystem. I basically want the Union ecosystem to just be the collection of like the best projects out there integrated with each other through Union. And you might see a DeFi protocol on Solana that allows you to one-click LP their token in pools on Sui, all through Union. And basically, Union members having access to literally the best DeFi opportunities out there. I think that's kind of the initial like true core project that we want to deliver to you guys.
So, if you're a developer and you are willing to apply for the U Combinator, you can scan this QR code and apply for U Combinator.
Whale sharks, I think we kind of mentioned already. I'm really happy with overall how the NFT collection performed and keeps on performing. Make sure that you get a whale shark if you can, guys. It is the Genesis NFT collection of Union, of course. I think right now they're already like quite high in price overall, but I'm just happy to see that basically Union still, despite the market downturn, has strong support. A little bit of a sneak peek on app v2. Here's some of the early designs that we had on how we want the look and feel of the app to be. We really want it to be a lot more sleeker, streamlined, a true modern application. That's from feedback from you guys, but also because we're addressing a larger audience here with it. We basically want this to be what would best the Lambo of enterprise, the best experience, show you all of your data, the best integrations, obviously fastest times, but literally make you feel good when you use it. Right now, I think Core, if I'm correct, MV2 wise, basically all the business logic is done. So a lot of the code
Yes,
for
yeah.
better transaction submissions, yeah. So now we're in the
Yeah.
design phase.
Yeah, and it's very cool. And I would also like to note we hear also of the people who love the current Testnet 9 interface. Like I think app v2, that's definitely like the mainnet, the mass market user interface that everyone will be able to use. But the true OG clickers may become nostalgic for the v1. Be like, ah yeah, I was there when the things were still 90s vibes. Sometimes the things failed, but like it will be a
Yeah,
good
we might
memory.
actually we should do like maybe 25 or 50 XP for all the users that interacted with the classic UI when it was the main one. So before we switch to app v2, make sure that we collect everyone's addresses.
Yeah, like a survivor achievement. It would be cool.
Exactly, I was there during the spike.
Okay, so guys, over to questions, and I'll hover to the next slide, but make sure that you keep asking questions. So you can earn some XP for joining today's community call. You can just scan this QR code and fill the form. So we just have this form open for next 5 minutes. So make sure you act fast. And by that time, we'll start taking the questions. So Karel, Cor, I'll throw up the questions. So, Mango is asking, are we expecting more integrations of chains on Union Testnet soon?
Yeah, I think so. Right now, there's more of a technical reason why we haven't actually enabled it yet. Obviously, both our frontend and Relayer have to integrate with a whole bunch of RPCs. And actually, it takes the team a lot of effort to coordinate with other teams to get access to those RPCs and ensure high quality. So that's why for now, while we were working on basically some good protocol fixes. We haven't enabled new networks. But some of you might have seen in the docs that actually we, for example, have support for Mantra and various move chains, and we're kind of planning to actually enable those this week with a bunch of new achievements and quests as well.
Amazing. Next up is when bringing back Holsky and Sepolia.
Yeah, so Holesky, the problem with that is they were basically testing out the new Ethereum upgrades, and they basically broke the consensus of Holesky. So you cannot actually generate proofs for it at the moment, so we have to wait for that to be back up. For users that interacted with Sepolia, what you might have seen is that the gas price will literally fluctuate insane amounts. I think personally, I saw the highest one was like 2 Sepolia ETH for transfer. And what you guys have to understand is obviously like we need to coordinate with faucets to have Sepolia ETH for you ready, and also with faucets to have enough for our relay ready. I think for the first couple of weeks of testnets, we purchased about 30,000 Sepolia ETH. So quite a significant amount, and actually faucets were running out. So at some point it just becomes impossible to actually source the ETH to pay for the gas. And so that's why we decided to disable it, to ensure that actually like you would either be able to use it, but not be in this like half broken state. And don't worry, like we will enable it once basically we can source more and guarantee that it's not going to be a bad UX and be in time for you to like finish these quests as well.
Next up, another problem that someone is seeing is when he's transferring the assets from Union to Babylon, it sometimes takes up to 40 hours, and then there is often an error that the transaction cannot be signed.
Yeah, so we don't do technical support questions here, but I can illustrate for you guys a little bit how we arrive on those estimated transfer times. That's related to the total queue that's filled up. What can occur, for example, is that right before you do a transfer, someone or a lot of users basically submit hundreds of thousands of transfers that have to be processed first. Another thing that I've seen occur, so the average transfer time that we do, we actually determine that from the average time for the last hour or something. So we extrapolate and do a statistical analysis. In that case, it could be, for example, that the Babylon RPC was actually down for an hour, and in that case, you actually see it go up. With regards to like seeing a CW20 error, I think on Babylon and on Stride and Stargaze, if you don't have tokens for gas, that bubbles up as a CW20 error. We show you a much nicer error in app-v2.
Gotcha. Sounds good. So, next up is a question from several users. They are asking about the 6-chain transaction achievement, which is not able to be completed right now because of Sepolia and Holsky.
Yeah, so like I said, we will be enabling more chains down the line. There are some achievements, I think, in the dashboard that are like not achievable yet, right? They just give you a look in the future. The way I wanted to do this was I love playing World of Warcraft as a teenager, right? And some might have seen that I used to be a raid leader in my guild and the main tank. And in World of Warcraft, you had these achievements that might take like 3 months to complete or would be incompletable yet until like a new expansion arrived. And we definitely put some of those in there, knowing like, hey, for new users, you might not be able to actually complete this yet, but down the line you will be. Don't worry about that. I think the
Gotcha.
only one that you might need to worry about is the ceremony. And that simply has to do with the fact that there's so very many people waiting in queue for the ceremony.
Sounds good. Next up is question from Neta. He's asking, can ceremony contributions be any faster, please?
It's not
So
possible. Oh, go ahead, Cor.
I can give a bit of a detail here. So with the ceremony, because it's a zero knowledge ceremony, it's a mathematical pipeline that everyone must happen in a row. Like you can't do multiple people at the same time. That's first of all. Secondly, there's like millions and millions and millions of computations being done for every single user. So we are just limited by how fast are the computers of the users. Now, some monster machines may do it in just 7 minutes, but some machines may take 2 hours. So we have set a limit of 1 hour so that as many people as possible can get in without the queue being too slow. But fundamentally, we are limited by mathematics and processor speed. So like we really cannot do anything about this with this insane popularity.
Thanks for the explanation, Cor. So, next up, interesting question. Are the former chains coming back, which were integrated to the previous testnets?
Yeah, so this is one we've also just covered before. Karel highlighted the reasons, but yes, they are definitely coming back. For Hosky, they will come back when Hosky has fixed their consensus, and Sepolia when the gas prices stabilize a bit.
Sounds amazing. Next up is, are we going to get the V2 on the testnet 9?
Yeah, so basically the Union app can interact with any possible Union network, which means that app v2 can function on both a testnet and a mainnet. And this will be the app that will be continuously polished. Probably every single day there will be nice future improvements, like nice animations being added, better UX, better UI. So once this is launched, I will like be ultra tracking X. Anytime anyone has a feature request, we will like immediately implement that and publish it. So yeah, I think it will be really, really fun.
Amazing. Next question is, where can we see our daily streaks?
Oh, in in app v2 actually. App v2 will massively gamify the streaks. It will be cool. You guys will see. It will be awesome.
Gotcha. Next up is, how long does it takes for our transactions to reflect on the Union dashboard?
So I suppose this is a bit of a question for Karel. But the
Yeah,
short
yeah.
answer. Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, the way we have it is basically we have a background process that constantly talks with our indexer to try to figure out your transaction counts and refreshes them. So sometimes that's almost instantaneous, and sometimes you have to wait maybe 20 minutes to an hour for this to arrive. So it differs. What you don't need to worry about is like we check the chain itself. So even if you don't see it reflected the same day, it could be that our indexer has fallen behind or something else has occurred, but in the end, it's going to get resolved and you're going to see it. What some users might see is that it takes a while for your XP to be counted. One of two things can happen. Either it's already counted, but it was actually a hidden achievement, and so it wasn't visible. That can be when we are editing the mission, right? Like when I edit the text, I put it on hidden so people don't see the edits being made, and then I show it again. Another thing is we calculate the leaderboard, I think, every 5 minutes. So basically, the XP is updated across all users every 5 minutes. And sometimes, of course, we actually take these calculations down while we do an update to increase performance or to add new features. So it could be that you are literally just looking at it while we're doing an update. I think we do about 2 to 3 a day.
Gotcha. So, coming up next, someone is asking if we can remove expired tasks in the dashboard.
Like tasks that are no longer achievable. Yeah, I kind of like to have them there on the one hand because it kind of shows you like what we've done in the past, of course. But on the other hand, I think as a new user, yeah, indeed, seeing something that you can no longer do is a bit annoying as well, of course, right? On the other hand, like for the OGs, it is a big flex, right? To know that you have got something that others can no longer achieve. So I don't know. People can tweet at me for what they prefer. If you only want tasks that you can do right now, or if you want to like have that potential flex.
Gotcha. So, next up, does the team have any plans for the ZK Goblin mode NFT, or how does it differ from the Genesis NFT?
Yeah, I kind of told this when we made the NFT, right? Like the Goblin Mode NFT was more an internal kind of joke for us, something that we did because initially the Union team members were called Goblins. I really love the NFT, and we will actually be like including it in further strategies. But the main Union NFT is the Whale Sharks. That's why we only did 100 Goblin NFTs as kind of the like supreme insider, like you were there from the very start NFT. We raffled a few to people who were at the moment vibing with us, but mainly we gave them out to various friends and partners.
Amazing. Next up, we have a question regarding the Kaito leaderboard. So there is a user who talks about Union every single day about the fixes, improvement, and the UI, UX, and everything happening around Union to enter the Kaito's top 100 leaderboard. But he's unable to enter it. And he's asking, does that make my contribution worthless or unseen?
So I'm not sure because it could be that you're not in the top 100, but maybe in the top 200. Kaito's algorithm, like we don't know either, right? Like Kaito doesn't tell us what the actual algorithm is. So I kind of would like it to like perhaps rotate a little bit, like almost like for a week, give some people advantage to climb up. But all we can do is like tell the Kaito team, like, hey, this is what we are observing, right? We're seeing, for example, someone that's on my timeline that I see talk a lot, not climb up, while someone that barely talks be really high. We flag that to them and ask them to basically look into their algorithm and do improvements. For example, initially they didn't have a lot of keywords associated with union, so they were checking for union.build, but obviously we all refer to it as union and the same. They were looking for G union in their keywords, but we corrected them and told them no, ZKGM is actually our official greeting. We work with them to fix it, and I think they do apply this in a backwards compatible way. So all tweets should count.
Yeah, sweet here. One additional thing on that, we also have access to more data on Kaito than just the top 100. So, we can see all that data when we so choose. It just doesn't show up on the 100 leaderboard.
Loveneesh, did you happen to close the form, or is the form just being overloaded by our community? Because it seems that the form page completely crashed.
The form is open.
Okay, yeah, then we just overlaid it. It's classic. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, we will try to find a solution, like an alternative way to give you guys the XP for this.
Actually, the form is working, Cor. The link is working. I just checked.
Oh,
There is
so yeah, it's very unreliable. Maybe if you spam refresh, sometimes it works, but usually it does not load for me either. So yeah, the next time you will use it like a QR code provider and a form provider that can handle the scale of Union's community. That'll be better.
Right, and I think for now, Loveneesh, maybe we extend how long this form stays valid, since for a lot of users it's hard to get in.
yeah.
Yeah, and we
Let's do
will.
I guess yeah, there is some issue with the form. Maybe someone tried a bot attack or something. That's why it happened. But
Nah, it's just not meant for this many users at the exact same
Yeah.
second. Well, thank you all. Then, if there's no more questions, I think this is it.
yeah,
We will make sure.
so taking up the last question for the day, before we leave. So choice 2459 is asking, what are the benefit for the OG roles?
Yeah, for all of these, like additional benefits, I won't share that yet, but for the OGs, obviously they got the XP advantage, which for like further NFT whitelist from partner projects is a pretty big advantage to get you up to those ranks that you need. And maybe we'll do something else down the line with it.
Sounds good. So that was all from the questions end, and we have kept the form open for now. And I have reached out to the deform support. So we'll make sure next time your XP experience is better, everyone. And thank you so much, Cor and Carol, for joining in and addressing the community questions out here and for the updates. CKGM, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Loveneesh, for hosting. CKGM, everyone, and I will go back into the cave aping testnet too. Have fun too.